Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and it's all hands to action stations around here lately. We just got back from Comic-Con last weekend, which was great but very tiring, and then barely had time to pack our bags and read us away for an intensive 3-day driving course, and I, of course, am at the French Tank Museum at Saumur. I'm back today, but that did mean that in the 2-day window between coming back from Comic-Con and departing for France, I've had to get all of this week's videos up. And the first thing I'm going to have to do when I get back today is do Saturday's video, so yeah. First world problems. What's that, Rita? Learning how to drive? Yes, I know. It's okay, don't worry. She's actually being taught how to drive, but this is actually quite amusing. I said, who's teaching you? She said, oh, I've got a friend. Don't worry, he's a driving instructor. Oh, really? Yeah, he teaches the army how to drive tanks. Rita, it's not the same thing. No, don't worry, she said, it'll be quite safe. He'll be teaching me on a military base. Yeah, safe for who? Not the soldiers. Anyway, so yes, Rita's learning to drive. It's about time. I mean, one of us has to. Oh yes, today's battle. Yeah, sorry about that. This is Basti. He's in the T-10, Soviet Tier 9 heavy tank. Very mobile as far as heavy tanks are concerned. I mean, look at the speed this thing can do. Armour, however, well, that's the compromise. Frontally, it's not too bad. Everywhere else, it's not too good. Although it does have a pretty nice turret. I never really liked the T-10 at first, although I do have to concede it is a pretty good tank. And I think if you play it as a sort of heavy medium, that's probably the best way to go about things. Where's that T-54 going? Well, he's going to get a big surprise if he comes around this side. And, oh, he just lost almost all of his health. And he's trying to climb the wall to get away. and yeah, he's dead. Okay, first blood to the green team. Good stuff. So anyway, the T-10, formerly known as the IS-8, in a sort of case of art mimicking life. The IS-8, or T-10, was the last heavy tank built by the Soviet Union. Oh, is that a T-30? What is the VK doing? Oh, it's a failed platoon. And he only has the 75mm gun. You do not want to be going out in front of a T-30, Sunshine. In fact, none of them do. They just want to wait for the T-10 to come around behind him there and miss. And get shot up for his efforts. Oh, the T-30's coming out. Well, Basti has had a spot of luck so far. He's been shot at 2 times by tanks with very, very big guns, and all that's happened is he suffered some minor track damage. Well, the T-30's dead. Basti fires on the move and hits, which is surprising but doesn't penetrate, which isn't surprising, the front of the Type 4 Heavy, and then scrambles, and that's why he didn't stop and aim, to get some form of concealment or cover between him and that thing's really, really big gun. Even with 258mm of penetration, it's difficult to find a spot on the front of that monster where you can penetrate, and he aims at the correct spot, the whole cheek there, as he turned away and presented a flat angle. As luck would have it, it didn't hit. And instead went into the whole front. Now that was not a guaranteed penetration, but again he got lucky. It went in and it did damage, and the Type 4 succumbed to concentrated fire from Basti, a T-57 Heavy, and a hyper-aggressive Grilla 15. Enemy T-10 there with a Type 62 running rings around him, and here comes the AMX-50B and that hyper-aggressive Grilla 15. Watch this. 50B plants one into him, Grilla 15 wants the kill, and bounces. And Basti takes it, saving the Grilla 15 from a very, very embarrassing spot of return fire there. We're going to be seeing more of that Grilla 15 later on. So, anyway, what's next? Well, it turns out they're being capped. Now, when you're being capped in World of Tanks, it is not the responsibility of the light tanks and the medium tanks to go back and do something about it. It's the responsibility of anybody who is fast enough or in the right position to go back and do something about it. It's no good looking at your lights and mediums if they're on the other side of the map and you're 200 meters away from the cap circle in a tank destroyer or a heavy. And in fact, if you look at the map, you'll see that the Grilla 15, no real surprise there, is leading the charge back to defend the cap circle. And it's the IS-3. Initially, I thought it was kind of surprising that the IS-3, who was last spotted over here and has taken a hell of a beating, had managed to make it all the way over there without being detected. But then I looked at how many tanks are left alive on both teams, and, well, yeah, it's not actually that surprising. Equally unsurprising, it's the Gorilla 15 playing at being a light tank again. and beating the tar out of that IS-3, but he's fired, he's pulling back. That means Basti is going to get the killing shot. So there's his second kill, and so far you'll note he hasn't taken any damage, although he has been hit a couple of times, but either his tracks or his turret armour have absorbed the impact. And they're ahead, although not by much. This was one of those games where most of the casualties were sustained in the first few minutes of the match. And that Gorilla 15's off again at full speed like a rat up a drainpipe. He's not hanging around for anything. So, right now, we only know the confirmed location of one enemy tank, and that's that T-57 Heavy, and somebody's taken the opportunity to put a couple of shots into him, as Basti scrambles to close the distance and contribute. I actually found it quite amusing at this point to note that the VK3001P is still alive. Don't forget, he's not fully upgraded, he's using the 75mm gun. And he's actually managed to do some damage here as well, and there goes the Gorilla 15 leading from the front. As always, unfortunately, his aggression is about to bite him in the arse, and his luck is about to run out. Just because we can see the T-57 Heavy does not mean that the rest of the tanks on the enemy team are nowhere to be found. And there's one, that one went in, that one went in, oh, that one bounced, and he's going to get away. Very, very quickly, Basti just lost half of his health. And the Gorilla 15 is down and paid the price for his aggression, although they have managed to at least knock out the enemy artillery. So that is good news. T-57 Heavy almost certainly reloading. And here comes the big boy. It's the E-100. And then we go from hyper-aggressive to ultra-cautious. T-57 Heavy has certainly reloaded by now, and none of these guys want to go around the corner and challenge him. They don't have enough firepower between the two of them to finish him with one shot each. And, well, there's the added problem of the Rheinmetall Borsig and the STB-1, who are at the top of the hill up by the monastery. And that T-57 Heavy is spotting targets for them, and they've been outflanked by the Panzer 58 Mutz. Basti fires a shot, succeeds in keeping his head down, but then he pops out again and plants a shot into the KV-4, who's arrived behind them, and there's the STB-1, so that just leaves the Rheinmetall Borsig undetected. KV-4 there, trying to angle and pull back in the face of the flanking fire that he's taken from the Panzer 58, and the AMX-50B has managed to work his way around behind them. Panzer 58 keeps putting some very accurate and effective fire into the E-100, and oh, there goes the VK3001P, bless him, but the STB-1 has seen the threat to the rear and he's going to deal with it, and he's taken out the 3001P. Panzer 58 has momentarily disappeared. The STB-1 is now facing off against the AMX-50B, the E-100, still reluctant to go around the corner and deal directly with the T-57 Heavy, as once again Basti starts taking hits from that Panzer 58. That Panzer 58 did a very, very good job here. I mean, he's only a tier 8 medium in a tier 10 match, but he made very effective use of the capabilities of the tank. He's damaged Basti's gun, and he's put an increasingly effective fire into that E-100. Basti uses his repair kit, looking at trying to get around behind, but the T-57 Heavy has been taken out, so he changes his plans and is thinking of going for the STB-1, takes another hit from the Panzer 58. I think he assumed that the 50B could deal with the STB-1, but, well, turns out that's not the case. There's the Panzer 58, come on E-100. Takes him out. Okay, it's 3 against 2. The 50B is down. As we panned the camera around there, we saw the KV-4 taking a big hit from the concealed Rheinmetall Borsig up the hill to the left, and the STB-1, of course, keeping both of these guys spotted, and the Borsig has taken out the KV-4 as he tried to cross the open ground there behind the wreck of the T-57 Heavy. There's been a few seconds since they saw that STB-1, however, so, well, Basti's going to take the chance, and I think the E-100's going to follow him, of trying to pull back and get to a slightly less exposed position. Without the STB-1 actively spotting for the Rheinmetall Borsig anymore, well, Basti's made it, and the STB-1 is now all the way up there. That guy was really using the terrain effectively in this match. Very, very good medium tank driver. E-100 fired and missed, which is unfortunate, and he was waiting. Basti, again, very lucky, his tracks absorbed it. waiting for the Borsig to poke. But the Borsig's not stupid. He's hiding behind the rock until he disappears off the map. Basti decides to start side-scraping around the rock, and it's possible, because there is some concealment there, that the Borsig is actually poking out now. But we wouldn't see him until he fired, so Basti pumps a shot in his direction, but no, he wasn't actually there. He's relocated elsewhere. E100 there, not doing too well, and it's a shame for the E100 driver, because we're not really seeing him at his best here. Until he joined Basti, this guy was on 4 kills, and he's now on 5. He's doing alright. But he's kind of stuck in a nasty position here, with the STB-1 and the Borsig keeping him pinned down behind the rock. In case it wasn't obvious at this point, by the way. Oh, there's the Borsig. No, he doesn't have a shot. But yes, in case it wasn't amazingly obvious at this point, Basti is not a Unicum player. He's a Joe Average, just like the majority of us. And he was sweating bullets during this match, as is going to become pretty obvious when you see what happens when it really comes down to the wire towards the end of the match. This is going to be one of those replays where you're staring at the screen in horror, just thinking, no, no, what are you doing? Oh, take your time, for God's sake. But, well, we've all been there. Now, it looks like the E100 is going up the hill. Well, it doesn't look like it. He is going up the hill after the Borsig and the STB-1. The thing here is, of course, that STB-1 has kept us guessing as to his position throughout this entire game. And oh, look, he's done it again. And he's got a flanking shot into the E100. E100 fires. He has hit the E100. The E100 has missed the STB-1. They're now, of course, both spotted for the Borsig, and that E100 has no cover. The E100 could one-shot that STB-1. It's going to take Basti 2 shots. He's obviously worrying about where that Borsig is. And is he going to catch the STB-1? No. The T10 is pretty quick for a heavy, but it is still just a heavy, and he's chasing a fast medium. He's got the shot. No, it misses. And the Borsig has finished off the E100, which means the STB-1 is ready to fire, and I think Basti just had a momentary spasm of terror there as he realised he was alone against 2 tanks on the enemy team. The STB-1 comes out, takes the shot, Basti fires and misses again, but again he gets lucky. His tracks absorb the shot from the STB-1. STB-1 has another go, and this time it goes in. He manages to hit and track the STB-1. He immediately uses the repair kit, comes out to get the killing shot, and it bounces. Here's the Borsig. Basti has to finish off the STB-1. Come on, reload. He's got him. The Borsig comes around the corner for the kill. Basti, frantically angling the tank, manages to take that one in the tracks on the left-hand side, cannot reload fast enough to put a shot into the full health Rheinmetall Borsig. It's going to take him 3 shots, even with high damage rolls, to finish off that Borsig, and the Borsig only has to hit him once. I think it's fairly safe to say that Basti was shitting bricks at this point. I mean, he's gotten lucky a lot so far in this game. Well, I say lucky. He has been getting relatively lucky, but he's been angling the tank's hull in order to increase the chances of a bounce, or of his tracks absorbing the hits. So he does know what he's doing, but it's the kind of pressure that he's under here. There's the Borsig. Now, the Borsig does not have great gun depression. Trying to shoot over that narrow ridge. Oh, there's only 2 minutes left. Does he have enough gun depression to fire and hit him in the hull, not the turret, or potentially the commander's hatches on the top, which are obviously weak spots? Is he still there? Whoa. He's trying to troll him into shooting. It doesn't look like he's still there. Basti, your spider sense should be tingling around about now. I think the Borsig is coming up behind you. Basti? Yes! Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. You'll be glad of the mobility of the T10. And the wreck of that dead T-57 Heavy in situations like this, as he scrambles to get the turret pointed in the right direction. There's one. Angle the tank, and his tracks eat it again. Basti, at some point your luck is going to have to run out. Well, I say luck. He had the tank angled just about as perfectly as he possibly could, and the Borsig did fluff it. Oh, you've got to be kidding. He missed. He pulled back too soon. He fired. It didn't go in. Here comes the Borsig. Surely it's all over. No, took it on the turret. Come on, puts one into him. He's never going to... Just ram him. Basti, ram him. Ram him. Drive into him, Basti. Oh my god, he's done it. I don't mind telling you, watching the last 5 minutes of that game took 10 years off my life. But Basti, you did it. Basti, you can let go of the mouse and start breathing again. It's over. You won. A very surprising steel wall there, although, well, when you see the amount of shots that went into his tracks, perhaps not that surprising after all. Steel wall for Basti in the T10. And didn't do the most damage in that game. That honour goes to the SDB1, who has to be kicking himself at losing that game. Basti, in fact, came in a very, very narrow third place, just behind the E100, but well ahead in first place on base experience with over 1,000. Basti fired 16 shots in that game, 11 hits, 10 penetrations. He took 14 hits in that game, only 4 of which penetrated, but that still left him on the barest sliver of health, and just goes to show you how tight the margin of error is in a high-tier game as far as damage received is concerned, even if you're in a heavy tank. So, Basti, you made it look real hard at the end there. Thanks for taking 10 years off my life with that replay, but well done on the win anyway. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's it for today. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.